everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Jessica. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you will always know when I'm uploading new videos. So a couple days ago, about a week ago, I uploaded my Greece vlog video. If you haven't already, check that out. I'll leave a link down below or a clickable icon up above. But this video is going to be actual travel tips I have for you guys if you plan on visiting Greece anytime soon. So the first thing I did when planning my trip to Greece was I wanted to know what time of the year was best to go. So I know summer obviously is the most popular time to go when it's warm and sunny and everything like that. It's a vacation destination spot, so why not go during the summer? But of course, during that time is when most people aren't in school, when most people aren't working, it's during the summer, so it's really crowded. So I started looking into what other times of the year would be better other than summer, and after doing some research, I found out that September is actually a really good time to go. It's right after summer season, so it's not quite as busy as maybe say June or July, but it's still really warm. When I went, it was still in like the 70s, low 80s. The weather was perfect and it wasn't as crowded. Another good thing about traveling during September is that, again, because it's more towards off-season as opposed to the summertime, the flights are also cheaper. Hotels are also cheaper because they're kind of moving into the more fall and winter months when maybe a lot of attractions aren't open anymore because, you know, it's not really tourist season. Especially the islands like Santorini or Mykonos or any of the other islands, they're not really getting as many tourists, so a lot of places will close up shop. So September's kind of leading into that time. So you can get hotels for cheaper, you can get flights for cheaper, and again, it's also a lot less crowded, so booking isn't as much of a hassle. There are more available hotels, more available flights. It's not as much as a nuisance. So if you guys plan on going to Greece, I would definitely recommend going during the month of September. Also, when you are pre-planning your trip, I would highly recommend that you pay for all of your excursions up front and online. Don't wait till you actually get there to stand in line and buy your tickets, especially when we were in Athens and we were doing like the Acropolis tour and we were going to museums and things like that. If you're planning to do stuff like that, buy your tickets in advance. When we went to Acropolis, the ticket line was like around, I want to say like 2 blocks long, and I'm not even exaggerating. And again, this is September, more towards the off season. So if you're still planning to go during June and July, because that's when you really want to go, I'm sure those lines are probably even worse. So buy and plan all of your excursions ahead of time. It's going to save you time once you actually get there, because you don't want to waste time standing in line for hours at a time when you could just have your ticket, walk in, because then there's already lines also when you get to the top of the hill, at least for like Acropolis, for example. There's still a whole other line you need to get through just to get to the top of the mountain. So, you know, save yourself as much time as possible by pre-planning as much as you possibly can. And also, specifically speaking for Athens, again with the museums and the Acropolis tour, all of the places like that, if that's what you want to go to Athens to see, there's a bundle pack you can buy, and I want to say ours was about $40, and that included, again, Acropolis, the Acropolis Museum, the Temple of Zeus, the Parthenon, you know, all these other, like the big touristy spots that most people go to Athens to see are included in this bundle. If you search for it online, I can't remember the name because my aunt went and bought it for us online, but it's definitely there, so I recommend that because it's a way cheaper and again easier way to get all of your tickets at one time, and then you're just ready to go and you just print them out and you show them when you get there and wham bam, thank you ma'am, you're done. Also, another random tip, because I'm kind of a weirdo, and this is just like a weird random fact that I decided to throw in there. We flew American and also British Airways from here to Chicago to Athens. They have the TVs on the back of the seat, as most airlines do, but they have the old school aux cord plug. So if you're on the airplane and you're wanting to watch a movie and you don't want to use the cheapy headphones that are free that the airline gives you, you want to use your own, make sure it has the aux cord plug, like I guess they're the older version now, but the plug like this is the one that you want to use. Now, if you're like me and you have the newer headphones, you have the one that looks like this. This is not going to plug into their TV because it's newer and the airlines are only now just getting all their TVs on their airplanes, so they don't have plugs like this. So if you take headphones that have this, you're not going to be able to hear the movie. So if you still have the one, again, with the aux cord like this, then take your own headset if you want to be more comfortable. Again, if you don't want those cheapy free airline ones. If you don't care, then that's fine. Again, you get it for free on the plane. But if you're like me, I hate the airline headsets, and if I would have known, I would have taken mine, but I had no idea. I only had my other ones. So if you guys want to watch movies while you're on the plane, just giving you a heads up because I wish I would have known. So you're deciding what time of year you want to go, you're looking at flights, you're looking at hotels, you're in there, you're in the moment, you're planning. Me and my family personally used booking.com to find all of our hotels, and it was nice because most of the hotels that we found in both Athens, Santorini, and Mykonos were very, very accommodating. So if they knew we were flying in a specific day or flying out a specific day, they helped with transportation, and they would be there at the airport with the little sign with your family's last name on it to pick us up, and when we left to go somewhere else, they would also pick us up from the hotel and then drive us back to the airport. So that's something that's really, really accommodating. So when you're searching for hotels, maybe ask them if they provide that transportation, because that also saves you another step of trying to get a taxi, and it saves you money from paying for a taxi. So it saves time, saves you money. I'm not sure about Airbnb. My aunt is not a fan of Airbnbs, even though I am. We kind of, at least in Athens, stayed at an apartment kind of thing that was kind of like an Airbnb. It wasn't really a hotel, but we still found it through booking.com. I don't know if Airbnbs out there do that. You can always ask, but from my experience, most hotels, they do offer that. So if they don't offer it straight away on the phone with you, it doesn't hurt to ask, because they might. Now, you know what time of year you want to go, you got your flights, you got your hotel. Now, tours. If you are not a tour person, then this doesn't apply to you. But if you're like me and my family, where we like a mixture of both. I do like to go on tours and see museums and things like that, but then also do a little bit of like the local kind of, maybe not as touristy populated kind of areas. This is perfect for you if you were someone like us. You want something that is a more kind of like intimate, not so much as like a large group tour. Imagine any of us want to be in a group of like 16 other people, and you have one tour guide that you can't hear, and then you can't really take the time to see the things that you want to see because you got to keep up with the group, it's just not as fun. What me and my family used was a website called, let me look at my notes. It is called With Locals. So what this is it's kind of like a one-on-one where you can hire someone that lives in the area in Athens, and they will take you on different tours of the city, and they will tell you about it, give you the history. They're very knowledgeable because they're from there, and they're learning these things in their schools, in elementary school, at a young age. They're very knowledgeable. You're still getting the same information from a big tour group, but when you book through here, you can do a personalized group with just you and your family, which is exactly what we did. We had a separate tour for our mythology tour. Then we had a separate one that kind of took us through like the marketplaces and like the secret, areas that just locals hang out in. So we got to find like the really good authentic restaurants and things like that. And we also had a personal one even through Acropolis. Especially there, you would see the really big tour groups where like they would have the flag and they're like, follow the flag, if your tour group blue, look for the blue flag, don't lose your group. Just the anxiety, it was too much. I don't get how people could do it. It was literally just me, my mom, my aunt, my uncle, and our tour guide, and it was one-on-one. We could ask whatever questions we wanted to. We could go at any pace that we wanted to. It was amazing. So if that's something that you guys want, I would highly recommend doing that. Okay, so you got your flight, you got your hotel, you booked all your tours, you're over, and now you're in Greece. I'm gonna give you guys like weird small little tidbit facts that I didn't know that I am gonna now pass on to you. So if for whatever reason you were traveling to Greece and you're worried about liking Mediterranean food, which first off, before I say this, the food there is amazing. So you really shouldn't have any troubles whatsoever. But for whatever reason, if you're worried about it, if you don't like it, again, for whatever reason, there is actually a lot of Italian restaurants out there. I don't know if it's because they're really close to Italy or a lot of people from Italy now live in Greece. I'm not sure what the deal is, but every restaurant we went to, it was basically, the options were gyros, burgers, sandwiches, and then just pastas and pizzas and Italian food. There's a ton of Italian food, both, again, in Athens, Santorini, and Mykonos. All of them had Italian food options. So if you don't like Mediterranean food, you're traveling there with other people forcefully and you're scared that you're not gonna like the food. Hopefully you like Italian food. Everyone likes pasta and pizza and sandwiches. So it'll be fine. There are plenty of options. So speaking of food, I would say the average meal costs between about $6 and $8. And drinks, if you wanted to get like an alcoholic beverage, I would say the average, it would be, I would say $5. $5, maybe at the most. Some were even cheaper than that in some areas. Athens was surprisingly cheap. I thought because it was kind of a more city area that it'd be more expensive. I do know that they got hit kind of hard economically, and that was kind of going on, but I still didn't expect the food to be that cheap. Even if you want to go get ice cream, I think a scoop of ice cream in a waffle cone was like $2 or $3. It was really cheap. Also, again, speaking of food, my aunt is a very early riser, so she liked to start very early off in the morning. She wanted to cram in and see as much as she possibly could, but I would say just in Athens, but I think on the islands even too, now that I'm thinking about it, pretty much everywhere in Greece, they're not really early risers. We would leave our hotel at about 7 or 8 a.m. and most places were still closed. There would maybe be like a small pastry stand, maybe one restaurant would be open every 2 or 3 blocks for breakfast, and their typical breakfast over there is like bread and honey, and then some places had eggs and omelets and things, but that's pretty much it. They don't really eat breakfast over there. Maybe coffee, but then again, mostly bread, honey, pastries, like the small little, their versions of a bodega would have pastries in the morning, but that's pretty much it. Most places fully open at about 9 or 10 o'clock, and then they stay open later. So they're not really like breakfast morning people, and then most people will have dinner at 9 or 10. So that's kind of where their time slots are. Plan accordingly. Another small random fact that I didn't know going in, I'm sure someone will tell you once you get there, either your hotel, your concierge, or tour guide, or whatever, but I'm still going to give you an even bigger heads up in advance. When you guys get there, do not, you cannot flush the toilet paper. I know there's other countries where you can't do that, but again, if you are a new traveler and you've never been outside of the country and you're going to Greece, you need to have this heads up. Their plumbing system is not exactly where ours is. I don't know if their pipes are smaller or if they're maybe not as powerful of suction, or I don't know what the deal is. But you cannot flush the toilet paper. Ladies, after you wipe, you have to wipe and then throw it in the trash. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take a poop, you have to wipe and you have to throw it in the trash can. I know it's weird for us because we just want it. We want it in the toilet. We want the evidence gone. We don't want people to know. Once you flush, it's gone and it never happened. No. In Greece, you gotta throw it in the trash. Just, if you're insecure about it, double, triple wrap, throw it away, make sure it doesn't smell, but that's the reality. Thus comes with traveling the world. Now, there are things in Athens that I could tell you, yes, do this, yes, do that, but I mean, honestly, if you're traveling to Greece and you're going to Athens, people are mostly only there to see the ruins and, you know, Acropolis and all that stuff. So I'm not gonna spiel on about that. You guys can do your own research. I do recommend you guys visiting and seeing all the ruins that you can. They're all gorgeous. They're all beautiful. Again, if you haven't already, my vlog video, I have a lot of footage of that, and you can also see it on my Instagram at thisYoGirlJ. I did a decent amount of posting, so you guys can get an idea of what you want to see, maybe what you don't want to see, what you want to skip, things maybe you didn't know about that now you do want to see. Go ahead and check that out. All right, want to make sure I got through all of my Athens notes so that you guys know everything there. Okay, so now that's everything I have up to Athens. So now Santorini. Before I went on this trip, I had this whole Pinterest board of what I wanted my trip to look like. You know, you see all these mountains with the white buildings and the blue roofs, and it's all gorgeous. And that's what people think of as Greece. Now, obviously, that stuff is not in Athens. Most of that stuff is on Santorini. Now, again, the only islands I went to are Santorini and Mykonos, so those are the islands that I can speak on. But Santorini is the island that had most of what you would see in a typical, like, Pinteresty kind of photo shoot of what you would imagine Greece to look like. So again, if you watched my Greece log video, you saw one of the hotels we stayed in when we were in Santorini. It was the hotel room where it had its own private pool that had a view of the ocean, which, again, when we were planning this trip, my whole Pinterest board was full of these pictures of girls in these pools that overlooked this view, and there was like the private pool in the room, and I was like, I don't care how or where, but we need to have at least one hotel room where we have our own pool. That was my biggest requirement, because I'm like, we can't go to Greece and not have this. It's a must. I feel like you need to have that. You need to sit in there at the end of the day and soak in your own private pool. If you guys saw on my Instagram the photos I posted, or if you saw the footage in my vlog and you liked the place that we stayed at in Santorini, it is called On the Cliff Suites in Santorini. If you want to, I can leave a link down below in the video description for the hotel, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. It was so nice, and it was one of those like cave hotels where it was built into the side of the hill on the Cliff Suites. So it was very like cave-like, and even like especially like in the bathrooms and stuff, and it had like the rounded ceilings. It was beautiful. Also in my video, when we did a hike to the other side of the island, it was like an 8-mile hike. There was an area called Oia. OIA. I cannot for the life of me pronounce it. People have told me 1,000 times how to say it. I still can't freaking say it, okay? But that was the other area on the other side of Santorini. It's supposed to be like the more frou-frou, nicer area. That's where people who are going to Santorini like on their honeymoon, that's where they stay, on that side. It's more like romantic, quiet, you know, peaceful. They say it has nicer views. I personally think our area where we stayed in, which was called Thira, 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 I personally thought our part of the island was nicer. I thought our views were nicer, and we're also closer to the shops and things like that. And then also we had our bus station that, you know, if you want to just take a bus around the island and do stops like that. It is also closer to the port where all the cruise ships come into, so it's a lot busier than the other side of the island, which is probably why it's kind of like the honeymoon area, because it's more quiet. The cruise ships don't dock over there. So if you're over there, it's because your hotel's over there. You're not really shopping and, you know, doing things over there. The famous windmills are over there. So, you know, if you're the people like us who hike from one side to the other to go and kind of see that and see all the views, all of that is over there. But yeah, Thira is more crowded again because of the cruise ships, but you know, like I said, we went in September, so it wasn't as crowded. I will say there was one day where they had 5 cruise ships at the island at one time, which sounds crazy, and it probably was crazy, but lucky for us, that was the day that we went out on our boat excursion. So we weren't even on the island for most of the day that day, so we got really, really lucky. Again, that is also something that I highly recommend. If you could do a yacht boat excursion where it's like you stop and you'll swim in different areas and then they cook you food on the boat and all that stuff, do it. Just do it. I was literally so relaxed, I fell asleep on the boat coming back to land. They had to shake me awake. They were like, Jessica, we're back. And I'm just like, I was so relaxed, and you killed my vibe. We missed most of the crowd that day, but again, it wasn't ever super crazy crowded, but those streets, man, they're narrow. So if you're there during the busy season, during the summer, I can't imagine the crowds. The crowds are probably pretty vicious. I cannot recommend going to these islands, going to Greece during September more to you guys. I really think that it would just better your life and better your soul if you just wait till September. Just push it off a little bit. Weather's still fine. You'll be fine. I told you guys about my Pinterest board, how I had this whole board of how I imagined, you know, Greece would look like, you know, with the white buildings and the blue ceilings and all of that. So I saw all that in Santorini, but then we go from Santorini and then we go to Mykonos. I'm not saying Mykonos wasn't as nice, because it's still a beautiful island, but I feel like people think that it's the same as Santorini, and it's not. I don't want to use the word disappointed because I feel like that kind of sounds negative, but I do want to say that Mykonos isn't as picturesque as Santorini is. Santorini is more, again, like what you see in the photos of what you would think typical Greek island would look like, with the flowers and, you know, the hill cliff hotels and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Again, picturesque, exactly what you think Greece would be. That's what Santorini is. Now, Mykonos is not exactly like that. It's more hillish and rocky-ish. Here's the best way I can describe it. When people think Mykonos, they think of just like a long stretch of beach with hotels and, you know, you're laying out in the sun. Mykonos, their beaches are not the same as maybe here in like California, where it's just like a long stretch of sand and beach and there's just like hotels and houses all the way across it. It's not really like that, just because it's more hilly and rocky. There's like different sections of beach that are separated around the island. So there will be a stretch of beach for, you know, 5 or 6 hotels to fit on, and they have their own little piece of the beach. And then, you know, a mile or two away, there's another little beach section with 5 or 6 hotels, and they're like in little chunks around the island. So it's not so much beachy as you would picture it in, again, like California or Florida or anything like that. There's still very beautiful beaches, you know. It's all about getting in which section you want to be. Not much to do on Mykonos. Mykonos is more of, one, if you just want to lay on the beach and do absolutely nothing, just relax, Mykonos is for you. Also, if you want to party hard, Mykonos is for you. Now, if you're someone who just wants to lay on the beach and do absolutely nothing, you could pretty much go to any hotel in Mykonos and you can do that. They all have their lawn chairs that they sit on with their umbrellas, and they all have the little call button where you can call for service. Our hotel that we stayed at, I forget the name, but as soon as I found out, I'll put it here down below so you guys can know what it is. But at least for ours, if you had a room in the hotel, you could get 2 chairs and an overhead umbrella for free. Like, it came with your room, but obviously they don't have enough for each room, so it's first come, first serve. If you don't stay in the hotel, you can pay for them. Some are reasonably priced. Our hotel, it was $30 for the day, but that also includes, again, the button service for if you want drinks and food and stuff, which, of course, drinks and food are separate, but it includes the service for all day long. So if you want new towels and, you know, yada, 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 that is included. The place next door, it was like $50, which, I don't know, is a little more questionable, but they do offer that. Again, if you are not staying at the hotel, you could still get the whole relaxation beach thing. If your hotel, maybe all their chairs are taken, you can go to another hotel and, you know, you would just have to pay for it if it's not necessarily free with your hotel. But if you're more of a partier and you're going to Mykonos to just drink and party, you want to stay at Super Paradise. Now, Super Paradise, again, how I was saying there's different beach chunks around the island. Super Paradise is its own little beach chunk that's just hotels that just throw parties, and there's beach clubs and nightclubs, and, you know, other hotels have some, but Super Paradise is where the biggest big parties are. So if that's something that you're wanting, that's where you're gonna want to stay while you're in Mykonos, for sure. For sure. Like I said, Mykonos is really for either super party hard or relaxing on the beach. They do have small like water sport things, like, you know, they have jet skis and things like that. But I mean, they have a little town that you can kind of walk through with shops and things like that. You would probably need to take the bus into town, but I believe to take the bus it was only, I don't know, like $2 round, or not round trip, $2 each way. But still, it wasn't that much. Otherwise, that's mainly the max that there is to do in Mykonos, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing, but yeah. So those are all the tidbits that I learned while planning and while actually in Greece during my trip. I hope some of these tips were very helpful for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. If you guys have any comments on videos you guys would like to see in the future, go ahead and leave them down below. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!